occur from time to time in Gainesville, Florida, and then and again today. It's a lot quieter today. It's almost as if it's almost as if the gods can layer on, like on the atmosphere. They can layer pressure on, or yeah, it's like the pressure cooker, and they could dial the atmosphere up to like 55, you know, or they could dial it back to 10. There's all kinds of things, you know, and someone out there had the philosophy that we're all part of invisible networks or matrices, as if you're part of a brain matrix. And it is kind of that old school rule of whoever you hang out with, you become, that kind of thing. And that would be in person, but even invisibly, who's in your network? You know what I mean? Invisibly, beyond your cell phone. And is that person helping or hurting your chances at a higher quality life, or even just better feelings? You could live, you know, somewhere that's not the most, you know, expensive place or whatever, but say you have negative vibes all day long. You're trying to shake it. You can't figure out. You could even. There are people who run. People who exercise, and even with all that, they still have to avoid the, you know, negative heebie-jeebies or whatever you want to call it, vibes. And it's like, where are they coming in? Because it's like invisible. And there are people who wonder why they're depressed. And, you know, science would say brain chemistry, among other things. But there could be more to it. In your invisible matrix, there could be a mismatch, and you need to be matched with a better situation. So it's hard to explain. Anyway, just a theory thrown out there, because people have been baffled for years as to why some people can get up and go every day and they don't seem depressed or held back. And many others who've even resorted to the big pharma industries, because see how big they've grown, and they rely on that to get up and go every day. So why is it some people are why is it some people easily get up in the morning and some people don't? So there's, you know, many variables, but it could come down to an invisible matrix, or someone in your control tower who isn't the best match. And it, you know, so that's, we'll just put it that way. It's a theory that was put. For some reason. I know it won't last long because they had different Coke ads. You know, they had Diet Coke for a while, now it's orange cream. But who doesn't love what it looks like? Like, it's kind of groovy 70s, I guess, but the colors are, you know, attractive, I guess, in that setting. Of course, Coca-Cola is always pretty for some reason. They've had the best design on their bottles and for years. That's the magic of advertising and marketing and creating the best package. And people can't help it. They see the red label, and, you know, you have to be readjusted, recalibrated on the sugar versus, you know, the alkaline scale in order to not want to have sodas for the high fructose corn syrup. It's hard to explain. It's hard to do by oneself. You would have to mentally say, I don't want my money going to the dark side of the food industry, because how many people who created Coca-Cola actually drink it? It's the same argument. Which way are we going? Milkboy? So it's the same argument with cigarettes. And in a whistleblower movie with Russell Crowe, there's an argument that the people who started growing tobacco and selling it for cigarettes, their families don't even smoke. They make big money, while everybody else is scrounging around for pennies because they're trying to cope with life. I totally get it. So, and then of course in the movie they talk about an additive, an addictive additive put into the nicotine, or however it's created, the tobacco or cigarettes. I guess nicotine itself is addictive. And there's a whole formula, you know, and you know, part of it is mental. There's the packaging, there's, you know, people can barely cope with life because of how, you know, bad the world is, basically. It is actually like pretty hard to deal with life. And people resort to, like, there's a whole formula mentally. Then people want to feel a little badass, like they go against the system because nobody loves the idea of being controlled by a system, you know what I mean? So we're a little bit, so then, you know, people might smoke because of that reason. So anyway, it's been a soapbox there. It's funny, I have a couple, almost a whole fleet of surgeons down here. Anyway, it looks like they're going towards the Plaza, and I came over here like, oh, they're going into the building. Oh, it's like a residence tour or whatever. So, anyway, when I wound up going freelance many years ago for writing and editing, and back then you could find contracts. Like I had a really good contract that was very attractive, which helped me decide to leave a very toxic work environment. While doing that, I felt like I broke free of a different matrix. I was like, oh, I can totally, you know, you forget how long life can be. And it's like, I felt like I wanted to get a tattoo or two to mark my independence from a certain type of world. It's like, well, writers, if you can kind of make it in the writing world a certain way, you could be an independent contractor. Or you could, maybe you can get, they have different levels of publishing, so you could wind up with, you know, a salary for writing a book or what have you, even as a ghostwriter for someone else. And I decided to get 2 small tattoos because I was like, I broke out of the matrix. There's an airplane inclining off to the northwest down there. You can barely see it probably through the lens, but it looks slow and over the city. So I kept hearing airplanes over the past couple days that had more of a rumble, and I wondered if the cloud ceiling or whatever you call it, so that you can hear it. Anyway, 2 red cars here and a black Audi. So, point being, because I felt like I broke free of the matrix, I had the urge to get these tattoos. And can that feeling be put forth, per se? Now I don't necessarily need them. After 2011, I was put on like some crazy mill, and it wasn't fun. It's not a ride. It was more like a torturous treadmill of a new form of slavery that you can't